Yeah, buddy. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Childish. We're back at it again. Episode 8 of Underrated and Overlooked, my series dedicated to helping out the up and coming summoners on unit selections that some kind of get pushed out the side. That definitely need more credit, and hopefully, the insight that I can give you today for this upcoming unit will make you think twice about utilizing it in your arena offense or dungeon team. So the focus of this unit is going to be for arena offense in addition to dungeons. This is such a versatile unit that I believe that this is the next underrated and overlooked unit. We got Bella's big brother, Crow, Big Daddy Crow right here. So for you guys know, this is the awakened version of the Dark Inugami. The Dark Inugami is a farmable unit on Mondays for the global server, and I believe Tuesdays for the, or maybe it is Sunday, I'm sorry, for the Asia server. So hopefully you're on the global server for Monday. I'll have to double check on that. But this is definitely a stellar unit, and we're going to go ahead and get into the top 3 to 4 reasons why this unit is particularly good. So before we get into that, let's go ahead and go over the skills. The unawakened unit has the chance to break the defense when it's awakened. It also provides an opportunity to inflict continuous damage for 3 turns for 50% as well. And for those that don't know, 50% continuous damage ticks. Every tick is 5% of the max hit points. Okay, we got the ability to team up. All of the Inugamis have the ability to either team up or seize, which is an ability that allows you to remove beneficial effects. This one has the opportunity to team up, so that allows you to utilize another unit with their first skill, whatever their first skill is. Provide that additional utility on whatever unit you're attacking. So, for example, if you have a water-based team and then Crow, and you're attacking a fire-based team, you have the ability to team up and utilize a water unit on the fire unit that you're targeting and do some additional damage. So you can kind of see where that can really come into play in the arena setting. And then last but not least, the bread and butter of this unit, Scar, attacks on the enemy's wounds, and damage is increased by 50% if the enemy is under a harmful effect. So the number one reason why this is classified as underrated and overlooked is because of its element. Okay, it is a rare element, light and dark element. So what that means is it's neutral towards every unit with the exception of light. What that provides for you in the arena is the opportunity to, I don't want to say disguise your unit and allow you to do maximum damage without taking too much damage. And that's too much damage single target wise, right? Obviously AoEs are going to hit them as well, but generally speaking, when you're fighting somebody in the arena, you're going to have people that you're going up against that are wind, water, or fire based. And if you're bringing a team that's also a mixed colors, mixed elements, they're always going to be going for an element that they're strong against before going against an element that they're neutral against. So what that means is if you have a fire-based team and the other team is water-based, not that you're going to attack fire into water, right? But this is just an example. The water-based arena defense team is always going to go for your fire unit because they're strong against it before they attack Crow. So what that allows him to do is disguise himself and allows him to do the damage he needs to do without, getting hit, all the time because they're going for the fire units. So having that elemental advantage of being neutral towards everybody is really, really strong because, again, it keeps them alive longer and it lets you do more damage. All right. Number 2, the ability to do the Scar if the damage is increased by 50% if the enemy is under harmful effect. I personally have seen this skill do upwards of 50 to 55k when we have some units that provide skills that ignore defense that don't even do that much damage. So even though this skill states that it's only increased by 50% if the enemy is under a harmful effect, notice that it says singular. Correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I'm just going by my experience, but it is my belief that the damage increased is actually dependent upon how many harmful effects there are. Don't ask me why, but I have utilized this unit 5-star max and have been in various scenarios, and I don't know if it's just RNG or random coincidence, but I have always done more damage with this unit when I critically hit, regardless if it's with critically hit or not. I've always done more damage when I have more harmful effects, even though it only says it increases it by 50%. If it's under a harmful effect, I've always done more damage if it has multiple harmful effects. So hopefully somebody can clarify that. There is a video floating out, I think it's from Summoner's War Addict, The Power of Crow, showcasing his 6-star Crow doing upwards of 50 to 55k damage. So this is a beginner unit for you guys, but if you choose to do so and keep this in the long haul, this can be a super strong unit for you. Okay, next up on why this unit is a great unit to keep. It provides so much damage for the arena if you have a synergistic team that has a lot of hostile effects. But in addition, this provides you not only with the defense break, but the opportunity to provide continuous damage, but not one, not two, but for 3 turns. And like I stated, 3 turns for each tick being 5% of the max HP means 1 continuous damage hit on this guy over time will provide you with 15% damage of their max HP. Why is this important? If you're new to the game, when you get into those dungeons, the Giants, Halls of Magic, Dragon's Dungeon, you'll notice that the early stages of the game, the halls, will go down pretty quick. And of course, as you progress, they will get more difficult and difficult. Well, as you progress into the B6, B7, B8 range for most of the dungeons, you will notice that those particular dungeons, their hit points for the boss exponentially increases. Has a lot more hit points. But the good thing about continuous damaging is it doesn't matter how much defense is on the unit. It doesn't matter how much hit points is on the unit. If you can land a continuous damage effect on them, it will take away 5% of the match HP regardless of how much HP they have or defense they have, so on and so forth. So continuous damage is the end game way of killing the high-end dungeons. Obviously, when you get into the way high-end dungeons and you bring, a full team of 6-star units, you can take down the bosses without continuous damage, but continuous damage definitely speeds up the process in which you can take down a particular unit. For those that have seen, you might have been searching previous videos beforehand. One of the ways that we used to take down the hardest Giants instances is to bring units that provides tons of continuous damage effects. Obviously, the meta has kind of switched away from that, but continuous damage effects is still very strong. All right, so we have the ability of the elemental neutrality, being neutral to all elements with the exception of light. We have the ability to team up with another unit and provide whatever hostile effect they have on their first skill in addition to yours. Then you have the opportunity of doing a massive amount of damage with regards to this last skill. Being able to one-shot units and being dark, versus all the other elements. You're not going to be too concerned about not hitting them pretty hard, right? If you're trying to critically hit somebody that's of a weaker element, there's a good chance that you'll miss that critical hit. Okay. In addition, we have the we have the ability we said already, the arena, the dungeons. Let's go ahead and break down the rune specs. So, rune specs, because this is a very damage-heavy unit, the basic recommendations are always going to be Fatal Blade early on with attack across the board, attack in the 2 slot, the 4 slot, and the 6 slot. Just because when you're at the beginning stages, you don't have the opportunity to get the better runes. So I like those setups. If you have the opportunity of getting your critical rate with a Rage Blade set over 60%, then I prefer to use Rage Blade because of the fact that the critical damage on a unit or the boss with hostile effects on them can make up for a very high amount of damage. That being said, for those that don't know, generally speaking, if you can't get your critical rate with Rage or Blade runes upwards of 60% or higher, then I don't find it worth to switch over. If you can't get it higher, I prefer the fatal combo on that particular thing. So And then in addition, for late game users, if you are considering, mid to late stage users of the game, then I do prefer a violent set on this unit over fatal and rage. And for that, I prefer attack, crit damage, attack. For the Rage Blade set as well, I prefer attack, crit damage, attack for 2, 4, and 6, just so that you can maximize on the amount of critical damage you can do. The reason why Violent Blade is so strong is because when you have a Violent spec on the main skill, obviously more opportunities to provide a defense break and continuous damage is strong not only for arena offense, but if you're trying to fight a hard unit in the dungeons, giants, dragons, or whatever, getting the opportunity to provide more continuous damage effects is extremely strong. And again, if my assumption is true that the damage is increased by every harmful effect versus a harmful effect, then this can make this skill do a lot more damage. So yes, early to mid stage, Fatal Blade, Rage Blade. Mid to late game stage, I like a Violent Blade. And again, don't go for crit damage on the 4 slot unless you can get yourself a very, very high amount of crit rate with the substats. And you're not going to see that too much early game because of the runes being kind of weak, not providing too much substats. You'll see that in the later part of the game. So that is pretty much it as far as covering this particular unit. Hopefully this has given you enough information to inspire you to utilize this in your arena offense or dungeon team, as this is a very versatile unit that you can use in all situations and help you get to that next level. So that is it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you have a request for a unit that you feel is underrated and overlooked, please shoot me an email at childish402@gmail.com with your opinion on why the unit and why this should be in the next underrated and overlooked video. So we'll go ahead and call it right there, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate your support as always. This is Childish with ChildishPlays checking out. Take care. We'll see you next time, guys. I'm out.